The day the owl gave away its feathers. Once upon a time, deep in the heart of Whimsy Woods, there lived a wise old owl named Oliver. Oliver had the most magnificent feathers in all the forest, golden brown, speckled with white, and so soft that even the wind whispered with jealousy when it brushed against them. Every creature admired Oliver's feathers, and some even dreamed of having just one to treasure forever. But Oliver wasn't just wise, he was also generous, and one fateful day he had an idea. "What good are my feathers if I keep them all to myself?" he hooted. Surely they could be put to better use. And so he decided he would give them away. The announcement lever perched himself on the tallest branch of the grand oak and cleared his throat. "Attention, dear friends. I, Oliver, the owl, have decided to share my feathers with anyone who needs them." The forest buzzed with excitement. The news spread like wildfire. Squirrels chattered, rabbits wiggled their noses in delight, and even the usually grumpy badgers perked up. The next morning, a long line of animals stretched through the woods, each waiting eagerly for their turn to receive one of Oliver's famous feathers. The feather frenzy begins. The first in line was Benny the beaver. "Oliver, I could use a feather to decorate my dam. It'll make it look fancy, like a castle." Oliver chuckled and plucked a feather from his wing. "Here you go, Benny. May your dam be the most regal in the river." Next came Penelope, the porcupine. "Oliver, I'd love a feather for my quill collection. Would be my most prized possession." Oliver happily handed her a feather. "May it bring you joy, Penelope?" Soon the line grew longer and the requests got stranger. Chester the cheetah said, "I need a feather to tickle my little brother. He never laughs at my jokes, but maybe a feather will do the trick." Then came Greg the goat. "I just want to eat one. I heard owl feathers taste magical." Oliver hesitated but decided, "Well, I wouldn't recommend eating it, Greg, but here you go." As more and more animals lined up, Oliver kept giving away his feathers. Birds wanted them for their nests, mice wanted them for soft beds, and even a shy little snail asked for one to use as an umbrella. Oliver, full of joy, kept plucking away, unaware that soon he would run out. A featherless owlbee. The end of the day, Oliver had given away every single feather. He stood bare, looking more like a plucked chicken than the wise old owl he once was. The wind, which had once been jealous of his soft feathers, laughed as it whistled around him. "Oh dear," Oliver said, shivering. "I may have made a mistake." His friends gasped when they saw him. Benny the beaver dropped his feather into the river by accident, and Greg the goat spat it out immediately. "That was a terrible idea," he admitted. Penelope the porcupine sniffled. "Oh, Oliver, you look so chilly." Chester the cheetah wrapped his tail around Oliver to keep him warm. "Don't worry, we'll fix this." The animals hurried to come up with a plan. The birds all tried donating their own feathers to Oliver, but they were too small. The rabbits tried knitting him a sweater, but they weren't very good at knitting. Even the beavers tried weaving him a coat made of leaves, but that just made Oliver look like a very confused bush. The big-eyed then Daisy the deer had a brilliant idea. "Why don't we all give Oliver something special in return?" So, one by one, the animals came forward with gifts. Benny brought warm river moss, Chester brought some of his own fur, and even Greg brought some soft hay. The birds gathered tiny twigs and petals, and the spiders wove a silky web coat for him. At last, Oliver wasn't cold anymore. Looked different, sure, but he was wrapped in the kindness of his friends. The lesson learned from that day on Oliver still shared his wisdom. But he also learned an important lesson. Generosity is wonderful, but taking care of yourself is important too. And of course, his feathers grew back, much to the relief of the entire forest. And so, Whimsy Woods remained a place of kindness, laughter, and one very generous, slightly fluffier than before owl.